I'm going to show you exactly why Quora Ads is trash, but why in some cases it's still an ad platform worth considering. But first, why am I even doing ads? Many engineers are cheap to the point where they sleep in a car despite earning mid-six figures. But when you're an engineer who wants to go fast in the SaaS business, you need to spend money. Otherwise, you spend 6 months grinding Twitter and get 41 views for a post. Or spend 8 hours on a video just for it to flop harder than the latest musical. That's why I'm experimenting with Quora Ads. Alright, so before I show you my campaign and the results that I got, let me show you around the platform. So it's basically going to be like meta ads where you have campaigns like here, and then inside the campaigns you have ad sets, and then inside the ad sets you have your ads. Okay, so let's talk about ad sets real quick. There's contextual, audience, behavioral, broad. We're going to skip these three because they're too top of funnel. And what top of funnel means is that basically you'll reach a lot more people, but they're a lot less likely to buy. Focusing on contextual because it lets me do both top of funnel and bottom of funnel. Bottom funnel is where you'll reach a lot less people, but they're much more likely to buy. So for example, these keywords here are very niche specific, like people that want to prevent affiliate fraud. And as you can see here, I have less than 100 estimated weekly impressions, which is quite niche. So that's the keywords, and most of my campaign assets are in keywords, but I can also choose topics if I want to go more top of the funnel kind of thing. And then another ad set that you can do is to show ads near specific questions. I find that this questions part isn't as useful because the questions are not really ever phrased in such a way that it's conducive to this particular product. So that's the ad set portion. Let me just go over my campaign structure, which is just going to be 4 ad sets. As you can see here, 4 ad sets, and then each of the ad sets is just all keywords. So I'm just targeting different angles. So people who want to prevent free trial fraud, SaaS developers that want to prevent card testing attacks, people that want to prevent affiliate fraud, and so on and so forth. So I want to hit each different angle to see what I can double down on and what works and what doesn't work. So that's the ad set level, but this is only one campaign. If you notice here, I actually have 2 campaigns. So the campaign here is the more specific bottom of the funnel thing I just showed you. And then this one is more top of funnel. And these actually target the topics that we talked about earlier in the ad sets. And I split these into 2 campaigns just so I can horse race them. And the reason why I didn't have like an ad set inside this campaign that's topics and then 4 other ad sets that's keywords is because I don't want their algorithm to skew all the spending to the high level top of funnel and then maybe spend, $64 of the $65 on topics, the $1 on keywords. Forcing a boundary between the top of funnel and bottom funnel campaigns is a good idea because then you kind of get a little bit better spending there. My ad structure inside each campaign is going to be 2 text, which I named T, and then 2 images, and then 1 answer ad. And I think this is the most interesting part of Quora. So an answer ad is basically you look for a question, and this question exists already, and I answer the question. But the way you answer the question, you can just shove a lot of links to your website and promote your website. And then so anytime anyone sees something that's close to this question, this ad will show up, which I think is pretty neat and pretty integrated to how a natural user would use the platform. The other ads, which are text ads and image ads, is kind of exactly what they sound like. So an image ad is just basically, some short text limited by short amount of characters in both your headline sentence and body text plus an image. And a text ad is the same thing, but without text. They also have video ads, but I didn't feel like doing the effort for videos. And also it seems like not on brand with Quora. And I think it would just look really awkward because I've never seen a video on Quora before, and I'm not sure I want to. Okay, so this all sounds reasonable, right? But there's actually a few big problems. So first, they pause and reject a lot of ads. So this is kind of frustrating because half the ads that get approved just gets paused a day or 2 later, or like 4 hours later, just randomly. And there's no email, there's no notifications. It's just you kind of come in here and you're like, oh, okay, I guess my ads are paused. And the reasons for the pause actually make no sense at all. So it's kind of hard to debug, which leads us to the second problem, their support is really lackluster. Like, for example, they reached out to me and, they were initially helpful, like, hey, do you need any help? I'm like, hey, can you give me some case studies? And they did, which actually is really good. But all the case studies are just big companies with huge budgets running campaigns to their blog posts. So very top of the funnel stuff. These case studies weren't really helpful for me because, I just want that money, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I reached out to him saying, hey, my ads are paused. Could you help me out here? But his response is just to gaslight me and says that all my ads are delivering. So I replied like, no, like a bunch of my ads are just randomly paused and it says the ads are irrelevant, even though they're not, because all the copy and landing page are pretty consistent. And then I showed him like a screenshot of another ad that got paused. And then he ghosted me. Okay, so maybe I could just brute force it and then make a bunch of ads, right? And then just duplicate a bunch of ads until, if half my ads get paused, then I'll just make 5 times as many ads. And then I'll have enough ads running to split test. But then that kind of leads us to another problem, which is you can duplicate ad sets, as you can see here, but you cannot duplicate ads. You can edit that, you can delete the ads, right? So if you were to just say, hey, I just want to duplicate, 3 of the 5 ads, and I just want to put it in the same ad set, well, you can't. The only way to duplicate ads is to actually duplicate the entire ad set. So then you just have 2 sets, in this case, 2 sets of 5 ads, and then you just go ahead and modify the duplicated ad sets ads. So now, if everything's working, now you just have like 2 awkwardly duplicated ad sets. I know back in like 2018, 2019, people used to duplicate ad sets a ton because it kind of represents in Facebook ads like a different seed. So even though the ads were completely identical and the ad set was completely identical, you could have some ad sets that actually is statistically significantly better. But it's 2024 now, so I don't think there's any need to do that anymore. Or maybe there still needs to be in Quora, who knows? And then to further compound this problem, you can't actually duplicate campaigns as well. You can only duplicate ad sets, right? So you can only edit and delete campaigns. So if your plan is to have some sort of symmetrical structure across multiple campaigns, you can't. You kind of need to start from scratch. So it's really cumbersome. It's really time consuming. It doesn't really break the platform, but something that might take half an hour, 1 hour in Meta could take you 3 or 4 times that effort in Quora. Okay, so let's actually go over the results. So there's about 17K impressions, 245 clicks on 0.4% CTR, all for $65. So this looks okay, right? Wrong. So it turns out the clicks aren't clicks to your website. They're actually just clicks to the ad. So you could be charged per click even though if they don't go to your website. So when they click on the ad, they need to click again to a call to action to go to your website. So we took a look at this, which is another problem, despite my pixels being set up properly and successfully validated. When you look at the actual ads, it doesn't seem like any of them actually registered, even just for like basic click-throughs. The problem here is that the attribution is going to be way off. However, we can use some clues to figure out what's going on. So here's 245 clicks. If I go ahead and look at the Google Analytics, we see all these core referrals are about 172 clicks. So even though I paid for 245 clicks, 172 clicks are actually from Quora. Because Core Pixels don't work, even though my notifications seem to indicate I got 5 signups on the dates I ran this campaign, I have no clue where they actually came from. But optimistically, we can say $65.16 for about 172 real clicks as measured by my Google Analytics and about 5 signups. So that's about $13 per sign up and 38 cents CPC. But this is horrendous because my product only costs $28 on the low end and my profit will be much lower than that. So even assuming 100% gross margins and I make the full $28 per customer, this is a one-time payment, so there's no subscription. So this is my LTV. My conversion rate would need to be about 10% just to break even, which isn't very likely. And the 5 signups aren't actually that great at all because only 1 entered their phone number for verification on the dates I ran this campaign, and they didn't even verify their code. So Quora is kind of a trash platform. It's got bad support. Its ad UI is extremely difficult to use. Your ads just get randomly paused or rejected, but it's got one good thing going for it. The cost per click on the ads are actually fairly cheap compared to other platforms I've played with. So while Quora is trash for my product, which is inherently niche as it's targeted towards Django SaaS developers who want to prevent specific types of fraud, I can see it being useful if you're selling B2C where you target a very common problem and the platform has money. It's just that the targeting's too broad, and I don't think its ability to narrow down to a niche or bottom of funnel is that effective. Anyway, that's it for me. If this was useful for you at all, it would mean the world to me if you'd subscribe.